Hi everyone. Uh, just a quick one for you guys today. Haven't uploaded a video in a while now, so I thought, yeah, let's see if I can create any content. So I wanted to go over my trading strategy. It's a scalping slash swing trading strategy, and my goal with this method that I've been working on is to double or triple or more my trading account um, in a day. Sometimes it could be up to 2 days, up to 3 days. But usually that's my goal to do a 2 or a 3x or more if I can hold my trades for longer and then cash out and repeat the process. So, for example, if I have a hundred in my account, I'm looking for a minimum of 300, maybe 250, and then I'll cash out and then I'll repeat the process. If I get a higher RR than that, a higher risk to reward, then that's absolutely fantastic. Then I've beat my kind of target, so I'll just bank that and I'll start again. So the system that I've created is a well, it's a supply and demand strategy which has been used by many before, but the way I trade it might be a little is a little different. So today I caught a Bitcoin long, as you can see, it was this long here, and yeah. So what I do is I try to go for a double. So what that means is let's say I have £100 in my account, or if my stop loss is 100, the first trade I yeah, show you what I mean. So first trade I might have made two 200, let's just say 250 off risking 100. So a risk to reward of 2.5. I'll make this a bit bigger for you guys. So 2.5, and then second trade. So this is where my system comes in. So I'll just talk to you guys about my the way I manage my money and how I grow my account with small money, a minimal amount of capital to then withdraw and start again. So that's how I like to do things, and I'm trying my best to scale this up because I don't really fancy having grands and grands into an account. I don't think it's needed, but yeah. Anyways, going back to the method. So in terms of how I manage, what I like to call this is, let's say, maybe risk money management. So that's all is important for trading. You need to have a good risk and money management. I do separate them too. I think they are different things. Um, as I think risk is more about how much you're risking on a trade, but money management is about how are you kind of dealing with your profits, how are you scaling, how are you kind of entering your positions, etc. So, anyways, I use a system called the double system. So, doubles. So, double, I used to also go for triples, but to keep it simple, I'll speak to you about my system, and in this case, going for a double. Okay, so the first trade, let's just say I risked 100 and I made 250. Fantastic. Okay, so that's a risk to reward of 2.5. I've 2.5 risk to reward ratio on my £100 initial risk, which is really good. So the second trade, so this is obviously it's everyone has their own way of trading. There is no right or wrong, and some people might say there's no need to do this and you're over risking, but it's all part of the plan, in my opinion. I think if you have a good strict plan and you're following to the T, how you risk your money is completely up to you. Obviously, depending on your where you are in your trading journey as well, you might be a complete beginner. If you're a complete beginner, then you might just want to stick to just taking the one trade and then looking for the next trade as a fresh trade. So first trade 250. Second trade, what I'll do is I'll basically risk everything. So my starting risk was 100, so I made 250. So in my account was is 350 now. So second trade, I will risk 350, and let's just say with the 350, I made for just to make it easy, I made 700. Good, that's a 350. That's a 1 to 2 because I risked. Yeah, I risked 350. So that's a risk to reward ratio of 2. And in that trade, I risked 350, if that makes sense. So look, 100, 250, total 350, risked the whole 350, made 700. So what I'll do now is I'll um I'll bank the 700. So I made £700 or dollars, and so started risk 250, risked the whole 350, made 700, and then I'll bank the 700, but I'd also have the initial 100 in the account as well, depending if I risked my whole account or if I had a stop loss. So just to keep it simple, I've got 700 now. So now I did a 7x on my account, and that is a fantastic return. And yeah, I'm done. So as you can see, it's quite simple when you break it down like this. First trade 2.5 risk to reward, second trade 2 risk to reward, and yeah, I've done a 7 to an 8x depending if I've yeah um, included my initial risk um, on my account. So what I'll do then is I'll bank the 700 and I'll start again with the 100, and I'll just keep doing that. And that's it. It can't get any simpler than that, to be honest. That's how I like to risk my money, and that's how like to manage my trading capital. So as you can see, this is the second trade I hit today. Not necessarily the profits, but I can share that with you guys another time. This was just more for example purposes. I just want to go over how I manage my money. So then I've got a risk reward of 2, and look, I've got this is the exact second trade I took for the double. So that first trade is a single, second trade is a double, and yeah, this is what I'd call a successful double. So this trade here was a 1 to 2.21. So I sold around here as well. Um, Stop loss at the bottom of the zone or here. I don't always have a stop loss because again I'm risking my account, as my account size is what is my trade, for example. So I'm happy to risk everything in the account because that's what I'm happy to risk on the trade. So if that makes sense to you, yeah, that's how I manage my trade. So this was the second trade. I believe the first trade that took was yesterday. But just to quickly go over how I caught this long. So I always try my best to, let's put this to the side here. I always try my best to follow the trend. So if we go on the 15 minutes, we can see we are in a clear uptrend on Bitcoin. There's continuous higher highs and lower highs. And yeah, it's a nice uptrend um, on the market. So I then try and find, okay, I've got my bias sorted, and I look for potential long entries. So I'll only be looking for longs. I wouldn't necessarily try and short a trending market while an uptrend, as it's a counter trend, and the RR would be a lower and also riskier than if you were just to trade along with the trend. So I marked up these zones, and how I mark my zones is, so this will be a demand zone. As you can see, I have all of these time frames, so it's which is a bit more advanced, and I can walk you through how I used every all the time frames on another video. But just for today, as today is just meant to be a quick one, just for me to get back into the groove of things and posting videos. Um, I mark up my demand zones like just like this. So for example, I look for a bearish candle, bearish red candle, which is here. And I look for an impulse, which is one, two, three, about four, five impulsive green candles to the upside, and then I look for a correction, which we got. So this is a correction down, and I look for an entry in my demand zone. So this is my demand zone, which I drew up on the 10 minutes. So let's get that correct, and then I'll wait for an entry on the lower time frame. So I go into the 5 minutes or 6 minutes or the 6 minute time frame, and then I just see, okay, is there any, is price slowing down into my zone, which is a good indication that your zone might be respected. And I try and get as many confluences as I possibly can. So I'll look at the 15 minutes. I'll try and look at literally all of these time frames. So as you can see, there's a 20-minute demand zone here as well. Let's delete this to make it easier. So it is as simple as finding a bearish candle, then a bullish impulsive engulfing candle. I know there's many terms for the impulsive candles, and then I look for a gap between where the bearish candle started, and then the impulsive candles coming out of the zone. So here you can clearly see the zones. So it's right here. I mean, not the zone, you can clearly see the gap. So all of my supply and demand zone has to have a gap. And what that generally means is the market makers like to push price back down, fill in all the liquidity and well the fair value gap here, and that's when the buyers then step back in and push the market back into their favor. So to keep it very simple, supply and demand it's very straightforward. You got a demand zone, which means there's a lot of buyers here, as it's a demand, it's an area of buyers. And because we've got an impulse to the upside, when the price comes back down, whoever's controlling the institutions, the big boys, whoever you want to, the buyers, they would like to defend their positions here. So when it comes back to this zone, they want to push price back up, so they are not stopped out or liquidated, or they'll add more to their position, if that makes sense, because they are pushing the market up, so they're trying to profit off the upward move. So same thing as a supply zone as well, obviously, which is the opposite, when you're looking for shorts. So that's, to keep it very simple, that's all I do. I look for, I try and determine my bias. I look for higher highs, well, if I'm looking for a long, and then I'll look for an entry on the shorter time frame. I'll give my stop loss some room, and I'll just go for a 1 to 2. Anything higher than that, absolutely fantastic. But that's when I just try my best to go for a double. And then when I go for a double, I'll bank and I'll do it over and over and over again. And it's just literally, it's a system that I created just so it takes everything off in terms of your just overthinking, your analyzation, your just not knowing what setups to take. I've kind of condensed everything. I've put everything together just so I know exactly what to look for and exactly what to take with confidence. So that's all I do really. That's what I've been doing, and I've just been trying to improve that really. And it's a lot of work has been going into this strategy, and it is really good. But just like with all strategies, as long as your psychology and your discipline and you're following your system, it's first and foremost probably the most important thing before you execute on your strategy. So I hope I haven't, spoke just, yeah, I hope it wasn't too messy with what I've tried to explain. But yeah, just to keep it simple, that's how I risk my account, and that's how I look for my setups. Second, if I was this yesterday? Yeah. So the first setup was actually here. So the when I took my first setup was which was yesterday. It was here. So that was another 1 to 2. And then there's many more opportunities within this price action if you scale down onto the 5 minutes. Sometimes I enter after 3 minutes as well if it's looking very good. So that was my first trade, and then that was my second trade. So yeah, that's all I need. And just like that, I've managed to, yeah, do a pretty good multiplier on my account. And I don't think, yeah, I don't think you can fault that, to be honest. But that's just how I do it. That's how I trade. But yeah, just a quick one for you guys. I am going to be uploading a lot more videos just on the crypto markets in general, and I'll continue to share my day trading strategy. This is the first of that series, which I'll try and be a bit more organized and just explain things a little better, hopefully going forward, and in a bit more detail as well. Um, so yeah, that's please feel free to leave any comments and any questions you have. I'm more than happy to answer them. Just before I say goodbye, I've got a Telegram here which is completely free. I will be uploading all my trading tips and the setups that I'm looking for, or I've taken, and just general information about just trading, as well as crypto related stuff as well. So the link for that would be in the description. So please feel free to join that, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.